Today, I'm going to talk about a cheating ex-wife who didn't want to pay alimony at any cost. You won't believe who ended up getting mad at her. Sit back and relax, it's gonna be a wild ride. I've finally calmed down enough to write this. When money is involved, people's true colors come out. I never wanted to believe that the true nature of my ex-wife, whom I had been with for decades, could be so ugly. When there's trouble, that's when you see someone's true character. I'm curious about the ex-wife's ugly true colors, give me the details. Thanks, I'll write it out then. I never thought it would go this far, I was shocked. Let me tell you about my ex-wife's outrageous behavior that even her lawyer had to give up on. I'm a middle-aged man. My ex-wife is the same age. We have a daughter who is in middle school. I'm an office worker, and my ex-wife was a stay-at-home mom. It was a normal, average family. I thought we were living a relatively happy life. The only slightly unusual thing was that our daughter was very attached to me, her father. It's probably because our daughter's personality is similar to mine. You see, my daughter and I are pretty organized types, but my ex-wife is a total slob. It's like that with housework and everything else, she always puts it off until the last minute and lets things pile up. Dishes are a typical example. She leaves them unwashed, so when I start washing them, she gets annoyed and says, "I was just about to do that." She probably thinks I'm washing them in a sarcastic way. In reality, I don't mean it that way at all. It's better to wash dishes before the oil and stuff hardens on them, and more than anything, it bothers me to visibly see things that need to be done. Okay, my bad. I'll leave them there then, please take care of it. Even if I say that and leave the dishes, she still doesn't do them in the end. It's like elementary school kids being told to do their homework. Maybe it's because she grew up watching her mom like that, but our daughter turned out to be a very responsible child, the opposite of her mother. My mom is hopeless, she would say, while helping with the laundry and cleaning that her mother wouldn't do. Not only that, she would even scold her mom, saying things like, "Mom, stop lazing around and clean up. The dishes are piling up too. Dad washed them yesterday, and I washed them the day before." Seriously, it's hard to tell which one is the mother. So that my daughter wouldn't have to do everything, I would also do housework together with her. Even seeing us like that didn't change my ex-wife's attitude at all. With the attitude that it was fine as long as we did it, she became even lazier. My ex-wife would lie around watching TV and eating snacks, dropping crumbs everywhere, not even helping, let alone doing anything herself. Seeing this, our daughter got furious. "Geez, stop making a mess right after we cleaned up. I mean, don't you feel anything watching us clean? Dad is tired from work every day." "Mom, you're just lying around at home, you're not tired, are you?" she would say, standing up for me. On one hand, I thought she had really grown up to be a good kid, but on the other hand, I had to wonder what kind of mother would make her daughter say things like this. Well, even if I scolded my ex-wife, she wouldn't listen anyway. The biggest piece of trash in this house might be my ex-wife. Still, we had feelings for each other as a family, and somehow we managed to get by with my daughter and I supporting each other. But there was a time when I got promoted and became too busy to help out much with the housework, putting too much of a burden on my daughter. I heard that even though I was busy, my ex-wife was still as lazy as ever. Talking to her was pointless. I adjusted my work and divided up the chores so as not to put too much burden on my daughter. Even so, to reward my daughter for doing her best, I tried to make family time by going out together as much as possible on my days off. But my lazy ex-wife gradually started staying home alone, saying things like, "It's too much trouble. I'd rather relax at home than go out. You two go ahead without me." My daughter and I were happy to go out, just the two of us, since we didn't have to deal with my ex-wife getting irritable from walking too much. We'd enjoy a nice meal, go to a nearby mall, stuff like that. My daughter and I had a good time. We were able to take a breather like that to some extent, but at a certain point, my daughter started acting strange. Even when we went out together on weekends, she seemed distracted and down. She was spacing out and didn't seem to be having fun. Come to think of it, my daughter was already in middle school. Figuring she might be embarrassed to go out with just her dad at her age, I brought it up at the family restaurant we went to that day. "If you don't like going out with me, you don't have to force yourself." When I said that, my usually responsible daughter made a face like she was about to cry, which was rare for her. "No, that's not it. I don't mind going out with you, Dad. Oh, that's a relief then. So what's wrong? You've been worrying about something for a while now, right? Talk to me about it. My daughter seemed to be debating for a while, but after a bit, she seemed to make up her mind and started talking. You know, I noticed something. I think my mom is cheating. What? Are you sure? I accidentally raised my voice. What my daughter told me was that shocking. Yeah. I saw her on the phone the other day. It was clearly not your name, and her attitude was totally different, so I'm pretty sure. My daughter got suspicious, followed her mom who had gotten all dressed up to go out, and witnessed her walking arm in arm with a man she didn't recognize. And even though she had found out, she had a hard time telling me since I was so busy, and she was afraid that if she tattled, something would change. I felt terrible that I hadn't noticed my ex-wife's cheating at all, and more than anything, I had made my young daughter go through all that. I'm sorry for making you worry about this alone until now. I will take care of the rest. No, that's okay. I know you're busy, Dad. But I have one request. I don't want to live with that kind of person anymore. I just want it to be you and me, Dad. My daughter, who never made a single selfish demand, finally broke down in tears. I deeply regretted pushing my daughter to that point, and at the same time, my anger towards my ex-wife exploded. I was furious. I was determined to give that human trash the punishment she deserved. Good. Trash that cheats so blatantly that even their kid notices deserves to be thoroughly punished. Give it to her. Once I decided to punish my ex-wife, I took swift action. I didn't even think of hiring a private investigator or anything like that. I applied for paid leave at work and used that time off to tail my ex-wife myself. I thoroughly gathered any evidence I could, like photos of her going into a hotel and screenshots of messages. Until the divorce from my ex-wife was settled, my daughter was going to stay with my parents. My daughter didn't want to though. I was surprised that when I told my ex-wife, our daughter is going to stay with my parents for a while, she didn't seem to care at all. Just saying, oh, okay. Seeing that, any shred of affection I had left for my ex-wife completely vanished, so I decided to go all out. Furthermore, when my ex-wife heard that our daughter had left the house, she boldly started bringing the other man to my house during the day until evening. What was the point of tailing her? She should have just done this from the start. That's how little I cared about her feelings at this point. I had set up a recorder in the house and gathered the evidence piled up. My ex-wife seemed to like playing the tragic heroine, always cozying up to the other man in a cutesy voice. Sniff. My husband and daughter are terrible. They treat me like I'm in the way, get angry at me, and now they're avoiding me. Even though I'm doing my best in my own way. Baby, you can make everyone around you happy just by existing, like a real baby, but they just don't get it at all. Let's forget about them who can't understand my baby's charm. It's okay, my baby's most important job is just to comfort me, you know? Oh, stop it, darling. Listening to their delusional lovey-dovey conversation, calling each other baby and darling, made me want to puke. It felt like I was being forced to watch some kind of role play. Well, I was able to gather plenty of evidence, so I'll call it a win. And so, it's about a month after I found out about my wife's cheating. I finally decided to confront my ex-wife with all the evidence. We need to talk. Talk about what? I'm busy, so I'd like you to save it for later. Can you still say the same thing after seeing this? What? Wait, what are these photos? What I showed my ex-wife was the evidence photos I had collected of her and the other man's cheating. I played the voice recorder too. For a husband to tell such a cute baby to do housework, he really has no eye for talent. I'm the only one who understands my baby's charm. Seriously, if only he would die and leave me insurance money, then I could be together with my darling. When I played this, my wife was stunned. How do you have this recording? You brought the other man into the house, didn't you? I used a recorder in the house. This is clear-cut cheating and humiliation. You want me to die, right? No, that's not true. This isn't me. Then who is it? Bring them here. When I said that, my wife fell silent. Since I had already lost all feelings for my ex-wife, I told her I wanted a divorce and alimony. For some reason, even at this point, my ex-wife started saying the cheating was just a momentary lapse in judgment. I have no intention of leaving you. I wondered why she was saying that when she seemed so happy with the other man, but a few weeks later, a visit from the other man made the reason clear. Sir, I'm sorry. My relationship with your wife was just a little fling. So please don't ask for alimony. The other man, who my ex-wife brought over saying he absolutely needed to talk, was dressed in a stretched-out polo shirt and stained pants. He looked like he totally had no money. He went on a long tangent about himself, but in short, he seemed to be a hopeless guy, a part-time worker and a gambler. I wondered why she would cheat, even just for fun, with a guy like this, but remember everyone. There's no point in trying to find reason in the actions of a monkey. His apology made it clear he just didn't want to pay alimony, but I mercilessly made him sign papers saying he would pay $30,000. For some reason he signed when I hinted at getting the police involved. He must be stupid too. And after that, I started preparing for the divorce. I moved the furniture I would use to my parents' house, disposed of what I didn't need, and got ready to move. I told my ex-wife to get out ASAP too, but with nowhere to go and no work experience, she was desperate to try to patch things up with me. She eagerly helped me prepare for the move, tried cleaning and cooking. She was desperate to get on my good side. But I completely ignored her as if she didn't exist. Since I was ignoring her so much, my ex-wife, at the end of her rope, finally resorted to her last-ditch effort. One day, she came to me in a sexy lingerie outfit and said, "Hey, I'll be waiting for you in bed tonight. I'll show you how serious I am." It was something I never expected her to say. Seeing my wife in lingerie didn't excite me at all, and it just made me want to puke. Do you not understand your situation? You think this will solve anything? Why do you think it ended up like this? I asked my ex-wife pointedly. That's because I betrayed you? Of course there's that too, but you betrayed our daughter. Who do you think was the first one to notice your cheating? It was our daughter. Letting your own daughter see that side of you, and then buttering me up to save your own skin, it's disgusting. Aren't you ashamed as a parent? When I cut her down like that, my ex-wife froze in surprise. Thinking she had finally shut up, I said, "Sorry, but the only way I can measure your sincerity is through divorce and alimony," and went into my room and locked the door. I couldn't stand sleeping in the bed my ex-wife and the other man had used together anymore, so I went back to my parents' house too. And then, you know what, my ex-wife showed up at my parents' house. I told her off that much, and she still didn't learn her lesson. She really is just a monkey. I was fed up and afraid it might involve our daughter, so I decided to get a lawyer. I sent a certified mail and various other things, but after a while, I got a call from a woman claiming to be my ex-wife's lawyer. Apparently my ex-wife had gotten a lawyer too. I wondered if she would be okay financially, but I was shocked at what my wife's lawyer said during our first meeting. My ex-wife's lawyer made a shocking statement. Alimony is something the cheating party pays. Therefore, it's misguided to demand it from your wife. Wait a minute. I'm the one who cheated. That's ridiculous. I'm the one who was cheated on. When I said that, my wife's lawyer made a puzzled face. I was told that your wife was cheated on and suffered emotional distress. That's not possible. Here is the evidence. When I said that and presented the evidence and voice recorder, the lawyer who checked it froze. And before long, an argument started that the story was different. It seemed my ex-wife had fabricated evidence of cheating. The lawyer, who had been deceived, was of course furious. I told you not to lie, didn't I? Now that you've lied to me, there's nothing I can do to help with this matter. Huh? What's that supposed to mean? I'm paying you a lot of money, so do something about it. Let me give you one last piece of advice out of goodwill. You have no chance of winning in this discussion. The only thing you can do is sincerely apologize and beg for leniency. The lawyer tried to persuade her somehow, and we were able to get her to agree to the divorce, but based on our daughter's wishes. The discussion turned to me having custody, and then my wife got petulant. I'm going to raise our daughter. So give me enough child support too, my ex-wife demanded, and everyone there was dumbfounded. Of course, since our daughter's wishes were the top priority, my ex-wife's demands weren't granted. Still, she kept making a fuss, saying things like, I gave birth to her, so of course she should be with me. So I told her off, saying, what have you ever done for our daughter? You left all the housework to her, and when you were warned, you did nothing. You didn't even care when she went to stay at my parents' house because she didn't want to see your face after noticing you're cheating. Someone like you has no right to call yourself a parent. When I said that, maybe because she couldn't argue back, my ex-wife reluctantly fell silent. But she must not have liked that, because my ex-wife continued to act sulky, and when it came to discussing alimony, she finally exploded. Alimony? Why should I have to pay that? In the first place, you and our daughter are also responsible for driving me to have an affair. You two were always nagging me. The only person who truly cared for me was the other man. Even now, she's still acting like some tragic heroine. Just when I thought she had said her piece, she suddenly changed her attitude quickly and said, I don't need to pay any of that. If you want to claim it, go after the other man for everything. She threw the other man under the bus, which left me so dumbfounded I almost burst out laughing. She sure changed her mind fast. My ex-wife's statements were so incoherent that both my lawyer and I were at a loss. We were racking our brains on how to settle this when my ex-wife's lawyer, who had been silently listening the whole time, suddenly spoke up. Stop messing around. What? I said stop messing around. From what I've heard so far, it's all about you. Aren't you ashamed as a grown adult? The lawyer, who had been calm up to now, began berating her furiously, like a demon. Even my unflappable ex-wife was at a loss for words. Not only you lied to your lawyer, but you still intend to play the victim? Listen closely. If this goes to trial, you have no chance of winning. I'll say it again. The only thing you can do is sincerely apologize and beg for mercy. You can try to negotiate the amount down, but you can't escape paying alimony and child support. Do you understand? Yes. Confronted by the lawyer's intensity, my ex-wife had no choice but to nod. Still, as expected of my ex-wife, she soon started arguing again. But I can't afford to pay child support. I mean, I don't even need to pay it, right? What are you saying? Of course you do. Ha! But why? There's no way I can pay that much every month on top of alimony. My ex-wife suddenly got furious at the lawyer. But the lawyer was unfazed by her outburst and continued lecturing her calmly and dispassionately. Isn't it a parent's responsibility to raise their child? Child support is the child's right. From what I've seen in the documents, it's true that you left all the housework to your daughter, correct? And on top of that, your daughter discovered your affair. Have you ever considered your daughter's feelings? But I'm sure my daughter will understand. Your daughter is saying she doesn't want to see your face or live with you, that she wants to go to her father's side. Can't you even imagine how she feels about you? Being lectured rationally, not emotionally, my ex-wife finally seemed to understand the gravity of what she had done. She fell completely silent and hung her head, a far cry from her earlier defiance. Right now, you don't have the qualifications to call yourself a parent. That's why you won't get custody. So pay child support. Apologize from the bottom of your heart and become a real parent. Yes. After confirming that my ex-wife had agreed, albeit meekly, I finally spoke up too. The lawyer is absolutely right. Well, you don't deserve any leniency for hurting our precious daughter like that. I vented my inner rage with that. I demanded the $30,000 in alimony I had originally requested. We also decided to make her pay $500 per month in child support. The ex-wife was abandoned even by the lawyer who was supposed to be on her side. How pathetic can she get? But man, it felt good to have the lawyer lay into her like that. I felt truly relieved when I heard afterwards that the ex-wife was billed a cancellation fee by that lawyer. I think the lecture got through to her too, and I wouldn't want a lawyer like that to take a loss. From what I heard, it seems the lawyer was raised by a single parent too. I didn't ask for details though. And of course, my ex-wife, who couldn't come up with the money, tearfully begged her parents to front the alimony for her. Now she's being forced to work from morning to night at some factory under the watchful eye of her parents. The factory is on-site work with no air conditioning, apparently. With no work experience and zero social skills, that's the only kind of place my ex-wife could work right away. As for the other man, despite declaring it was just a fling, he was surprisingly genuinely in love with my ex-wife. He was unable to pay the alimony, just like my ex-wife, and barely making ends meet. He visited my ex-wife's parents' house. But of course, he was thoroughly chewed out by my furious father-in-law. My in-laws are sensible people. They sincerely apologized for my ex-wife's actions and promised to never let her near me and my daughter again. However, my in-laws adored my daughter, so they said, if it's alright with our granddaughter, we'd like to have meals together and stay close. Even going forward. That's how I heard about what happened with my ex-wife and the other man, during a phone call. My daughter was very attached to and loved her grandparents too, so she was thrilled with that suggestion. The divorce from my ex-wife went through without issue, and my daughter and I are living at my parents' house. Luckily my parents' place was close by, so my daughter didn't have to transfer schools and is happily attending. Before the divorce, she was really depressed, and I was worried, but once the divorce was settled, and our new life started, she visibly regained her energy, which was a relief. She said, I was thinking, what if I couldn't cut ties with that woman? It wasn't the shock of the affair. My ex-wife contacted us once saying she wanted to see our daughter, but my daughter hung up on her, saying, it's too late to act concerned now. I don't think of you as a mother. My daughter still helps out with housework as always, and while my mother says she doesn't have to, she always praises her happily. Recently, my daughter has started making my lunch together with my mother. Because you worked so hard for us, Dad. I thought this might cheer you up even a little, she told me. Seriously, what a great kid. I wonder who her parents are. No, you and your ex-wife are the parents. Must be a genetic abnormality. Thanks for the zinger. Now that the story has concluded, my post is over. Everyone, be careful of changes in your wife too. You don't want to end up in a situation where your kid notices first. Today's story was about a trash wife who doesn't even fulfill her parental responsibilities getting lectured by the lawyer who was supposed to be on her side.